Okay, here we are. My name is Colin Wilcox, Extraordinary Concepts. You got to put extra in front of ordinary. We're doing the guest journey audit right now, and we are at the Tableside Experience. We just finished the hostess walking us to the table. Now that we're sitting at the table and we're auditing our experience, all the touching points the guest goes through. So we get there. Hopefully, your journey to the table was exciting and extraordinary by putting extra in front of ordinary. And you may not even think of like how what's the best way to bring a guest through the restaurant. But you think about that. How clean was the table and surrounding area when you sat down? That's the first thing they're going to do. They're going to sit at the table. They're going to either slide in a booth or something like that. They're sliding on crumbs or sticky stuff, or I hate when you put your hands on the table or your hands on the bar edge and you're like, it's just sticky. You grab a salt shaker, it's sticky. You have all that kind of stuff. You don't want that. That's not extra in front of ordinary. That is, that's not even ordinary. It's just disgusting. So anyway, you want to make sure that that is important. How does the guest feel when they sit down? What do they notice about the table setup? So that's another question. And all these questions, like I have, I'm going to leave. You guys can get a whole list of all these questions, but you want to make sure 1 through 10, how are these things done? And you want to check yourself. You want to audit your guest, and well, I have an employee audit as well every month. So what do you notice with the table setup? Sometimes you might be missing a salt and pepper shaker. Sometimes if you're going to put out silverware. Sometimes people put out silverware with a plate on it, and you just sat four. You only have a setup for two. So you want to make sure that that's all set. So you want to really make sure that before a guest actually sits at the table, it's showtime, and they sit in an amazing environment. How did the server greet you? When the server came over to you, said, "Hi, what can what can I get you guys a drink?" Or it's like, "Hey, what's your name? My name is Colin. I'll be serving you today. Where you guys from? You here to enjoy yourself? You guys ready to have some experience or what? Just kind of have a conversation with them. Don't just be over there and be an order taker. You really want to kind of put extra in front of ordinary. You want to kind of blow their mind. That's what people are coming in to buy. They're buying an experience. They're not just buying food. Let's see. How confident was and engaging was the server with the menu? Did they have confidence in the menu? Did they feel like they actually enjoy the menu and the menu is something that they want to, you to experience, or they just kind of raffling off things? What can I get you? Yeah, that comes with mashed potatoes or that kind of stuff. So it's important that you empower your waits or your servers to really kind of understand the menu and sort of embrace it and really have, be bought into the menu and what we're trying to sell. We're selling an experience, but that's all part of the sales is the food as well. So it's a showtime. So all that stuff got to come tie together. What did the sound sound like? What is the area in the tables? What's the environment, the atmosphere? Is the music? Is there a speaker right behind you just blaring you out? Or is there, like one of those tile speakers that just kind of sounds like something out of, I don't know, what is it, Snoopy or something like that? Like, whoop, 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 whoop. There's a lot of restaurants I go to and the background music, you can't even make it out. It's just terrible. You want just the right sound and just the right balance between customers and music. You want to be able to make sure you can make out the sound. And then what are the guests? Is the guests, are they too close? Sometimes they're sitting too close and making too much noise, or they feel like they're having dinner with you. So those are things. These are all touching points that a guest is going to go through. They're going to go through it subliminally. Was that the word I'm looking for? Whether they like it or not. These are just something that's going to go through their mind, whether enjoying themselves and having this experience. What is the smells? Do you have smells? Is the fajita next to them sizzling and making a smell? That's not bad. And it kind of gets them hungry for fajita or things like that. But you don't want it to smell disgusting. That's for sure. So you want to make, you're checking your senses. I always tell managers, make sure you go around the restaurant and check all your senses, your sight, your sound, your touch, your feel, your taste, all those things. You're constantly checking that stuff because that's what the guest is. That's how they're experiencing their brain. That's how they're taking in information to feed to their brain to give you an experience, give them themselves an experience. How does the lighting and the visuals feel at the table? Same thing as the lighting. If it's daylight, you got to adjust the lighting in the room according to how the days progress. When it gets night, and what's the environment you want to put off? Is it going to be nice, warm, casual, dim lit, or is it going to be bright? There's a lot of restaurants. Sometimes they come in, it might be like at 8 o'clock at night, and you're sitting there like, come on, man, it's closing time. They got like all the cleanup lights on and just like blaring. I'm like, man, I feel like it's just closing. I got to get out of here soon. So, tableside experience, very important. Um, and making sure that the servers checking back at the tables, and and having dialogue with the customers, and making sure that the food is hot and so on. We'll get to that in the next video. So this is tableside experience, and make sure you're doing an audit on all this stuff. And I'll see you at the next video.